Hey yo, what's happening, y'all? So today, we're gonna do a little recap of the weekend, and I'm like probably 4 days ahead now. It's Thursday, heading downtown, and let's talk about it. So this weekend we did our appearance over at Coming Road. We had a 2-day festival. Had to set up on Friday, I want to say. I believe we went out there and set up on Friday for a Saturday, Sunday market. People were so terrified of the weather. We had a couple of storms come through Houston with one storm. And Saturday, it started on the south side of town. By Sunday, it made its way to the north side of town. We were impacted on Sunday. Saturday at the market, so beautiful. People are out shopping. Everyone's getting so much love and everything. And by the time that the market actually started, even more people came. And these are the things and the places that we as vendors and pop-up and market goers, we be looking for, even just the curation of the event for people to know, like, hey, this is happening today, come on out. And my favorite thing is that when it's such a niche community, people are going to come out anyway, because there's generally nothing to usually do in the areas, unless it here in Texas, unless those small areas. Now Conroe's expanding like big time, but it's still a small town, and those small town areas, they have niche communities, and those niche communities per se here in Texas are all surrounding like the rodeo or something like that. It's like country life and wildlife and gaming and hunting. So when there's actual shopping events and farmers markets and stuff like that, the community shows up. So with this being a larger event, the community got a chance to show up, and we were there, baby. We were there. All right, so as we moving through the day, people were just showing up, and of course, with our concept, no one's seen our cookies before, our type of cookies. You have people around the fair or around the event that's selling cookies, but when people get to our table, that banner always catches them. And then the titling, and it's just like, what is the French mac? So I told my wife, I was just like, love, we need to change this to say French macaron, or these just macaron stuff cookies. And she was just like, no, because I so heavily convinced her when we first got started to leave it French mac, because it invokes questioning. And it's like, what's the French mac? So she rides with that now. And she was then telling me at that time, like, babe, we should just change it to macaron. So we're basically saying the same thing to one another at different times. And for me, I was just thinking that we could get clearer on that messaging, so that for someone that loves macarons can come, but it also invites the people that aren't too sure, and we can tell them what it is, and then they can try it. Most of the time, people cross themselves out because they don't like macarons, and we tell them all the time to try the cookies, to give them a shot, even a sample, because it's not like you're diving into that almond shell to get into the cookie, or vice versa. The shell bakes into the cookie, and they stay pretty soft for a while. The thing when most people walk up to when they see us in person is that we have so many more flavors to offer rather than what's on our online store. At a time, by volume, whenever we go to our commercial spot, we wouldn't be able to put out particular volume based on the online quantities. So we limit what we actually put on the online store versus when people see us out. So right now, being the fall, we have our fall flavors. And most people are thinking that we're putting macarons into our pie-made cookies, but we're not. Our pie-made cookies are our cookies where we'll bake a butter cookie or a base style of the cookie type, and then we'll stuff it with a pie that we bake. So my wife will go and she'll make like the peach cobbler or the apple pie, and these cookies take way more time because she has to make those pies, and she can't burn the pies or anything like that. So whenever the pie crust and all that stuff becomes burnt, or the toppings or something, it kind of cuts into how many cookies we can get out of that pie. And so those get a little bit more complicated. And And that's why by volume, we only offer a limited quantity during the fall on the site, versus in person, we have a lot more. Because in person, we have a lot more room for error. And what I mean by that is that when we get those burnt pieces, we can like toss those out and we don't have to worry about them. Whereas when we're fulfilling online, keeping up with the order amounts that's coming in, and it's just like, hey, I want 3 of these, 2 of these, and 1 of these. And what if we run into those burnt pies while fulfilling our markets? It creates complexities for us. However, during this particular weekend, that did not happen. Everything went smooth. The online orders, fulfilling for the 2-day market, including leading up into the week, because we still had our weekly markets at the same time. Excuse me. We had our weekly markets at the same time. And doing all of that, we get here and we're meeting new customer base. This isn't like the old market to where so many more people come out and it says, I seen you, I seen you, I seen you. This here is a new customer base. Although we did have some returning customers from another market we did at Conroe, and they remembered the cookie style. And of course they bought some. They say your cookies was great. Then there's always the part of the crowd that comes and they see us for the first time, but swear that they saw our cookies. The concept is astounding, but yet they're not understanding what they're looking at. They just see stuffed cookies. And we tell people all the time, everyone has stuffed cookies nowadays, but no one is doing this style of cookie where we're taking a macaron and we're placing it into a cookie. One flavor in a macaron, one flavor in a cookie, without the macaron being all vanilla, all chocolate, all peanut butter, and that's going into all 7 of our cookies. We're doing it to where you'll get a chocolate one here, a cookie dough here, a strawberry here, a lemon here, a cotton candy here. Y'all get the picture. Every time the macaron change, the cookie base change. Now there's a couple cookies that we do have that share a macaron. What I mean by that is that we have now where we actually offer up to about 4 peanut butter macaron based cookies. But the cookie changes every time. The cookie is never the same. So you have our OG, which is our Moo, that's our cookies and cream cookie. But now we have our Cosmic Star, our Midnight Bloom, and there's another one that we're releasing that hasn't been just released just yet. But all 4 of those have a peanut butter macaron, and we did that so we can drop our peanut butter pack. So, in case you're wondering what's that 4th cookie, you gotta wait until that peanut butter pack drops. And that's pretty much like a little drop of nugget right there for everybody that's actually locked into the content and that loves the cookies. Now, while we're here at the market, we're allowing people to try the new cookie, the Cosmic Star. So I hadn't gotten a chance to even try that cookie when we actually dropped it the week of dropping, nor the next week over, but we're constantly making the cookie. So I finally got a chance to try it. And I didn't really take to it. It was pretty much like the same like with the Moon. I didn't take to it, right? And this particular cookie has the Oreo peanut butter pie cookie broken into it, and I love that cookie. So I'm sitting here, I'm waiting, I'm just like, man, I know it's gonna hit me, but when is it gonna hit me? And I believe I had one where I was just like, hey, I'm gonna save this one for later, let me put it in the freezer. I put it in the freezer. I came back like 2 days later, I got it out of the freezer, and for me, I love eating some of our cookies out of the freezer because it's a different experience. It's almost like an ice cream cookie without ice cream. And it'd be hard, so I let it get to a little room temp. And when I'm eating it like that peanut butter and the chocolate and everything is just like right there, you know? And Midnight Bloom cookie for everyone. So many people was asking us to make cookies based on the Mars candies. So we particularly did the Reese's. And so you have the white chocolate, the Reese's Bits, and a little Reese's cup into a peanut butter cookie. Or take that back. into a chocolate cookie with a peanut butter macaron. So it's all the chocolate and peanut butter into that cookie. That's our midnight bloom. So now you can see why I'm getting with this peanut butter pack. So people are trying all of these cookies in person. Whereas to when you get on the website, most people it's like, hey, I don't see that cookie I bought at the place on the site. You're not gonna see it on there, but if you need it, just let me know and I can get it for you. However, while we're here, people are sampling it, they're trying it, they're buying it on top of the s'mores and the Oreo cookie are the first two to sell out for the entire weekend. So all the cookies we bought that were s'mores, all the cookies that we bought for Oreo, all gone. The next cookie that was to go is the banana pudding. I take that back. Banana pudding was the first to go, then s'mores and Oreo. And the banana pudding is literally a fave. Anyone that loves banana pudding and not the artificial store-bought, that plastic tasting crap, we're not using like a condensed milk or drizzle or any of these flavor additives for that cookie. It's literally a way that my wife bakes the cookie that by the time she finishes and mounts the wafers, it tastes like a banana pudding cookie. A banana pudding rather. But it's literally a cookie. And it's the same way with our pies. Most people are eating the pie-based cookies and they're just thinking that it's the essence of the pie. Like everyone's favorite part of the pie is that crust. It's the crust blended so well with however someone does the actual insides of the pie. So if it's an apple pie, usually it's that lattice top with the crust and then just enough of that warm apple filling. Not so much of the apple slices, but just that filling. Same thing with the peach cobbler. Same with your pecan pie. Like all of that. So most of the time we don't bring out our sweet potato pie anymore. And the pumpkin pie recipe, we're still dabbling with it, but it has now been perfected, I would say, to where the cookie holds up and shapes its form longer, to where when we bake it, it bakes into a more firmer cookie than what it did at first. Because at first, the sweet potato cookie, because that was the first one we ever did last year, it loses its form after baking it, so its shelf life was extremely short. When we did the pumpkin pie, it had the same shelf life, but now I can set the pumpkin pie out and it has the shelf life of the other cookies, which is about 5 to 7 days. And with this, people are like, hey, let me try that cookie. And our pumpkin cookie is a pumpkin spice with maple, with a maple drizzle. One moment. I was talking for a whole 10 minutes, y'all, and I wasn't recording. I stopped at the pumpkin pie part, so bringing it back, we were selling the cookies, and the pumpkin pie has been a hit. Now, the only thing is that we have to perfect our sweet potato pie to the same texturing and longevity as the other cookies, so that it can just flow. And this is one thing that kept us from dropping our gluten-free cookies, is that we didn't want to mess with the integrity. What I mean by that is like the taste, the texture, and the way that the flavor actually sits on your taste buds, to where it's not overly sweet. So we didn't want to mess with the integrity of the cookie, or we don't want to destroy the integrity of the brand by just putting out a weak cookie. And of course we got to test it, so sometimes it may come out, or some of our products may come out before lunch, but before it actually drops, we do like extreme testing. And this is against open market, this is against sales, this is against giveaways, all of this. We're at the event, and the biggest part about the event is that we love when people ask us, how are you changing the world? On the banner, I have changing the world one cookie at a time. At this part is where I enlighten people that we're not just a cute cookie brand. On the front side, it's the cookie. I tell people all the time, that's the handshake. That's how you meet us. You came over to this table because you wanted a cookie. On the back end is that we focus on mindset, we focus on encouragement and empowerment, we focus on education, and we also focus on the will of the spirit, right? And life skills and things like that, even fitness. And most of the people would say, how is that even possible? And it's because we don't push that content. This is one, we are a cookie brand, so we're going to focus on the cookies. But two, when it comes to everyone that's involved in our network, we are not just a cookie brand, because when you're doing your thing, you're not just the thing you're doing. When you're at work, you may be employee number 2, number 27, 4008. But if you actually take take a whole, what is it? If you take like the whole sum of like everything you've ever done until you became employee 4028, you've done a lot. You have life skills, you have business skills. You may not know how to write these things on paper or talk about them, but you have a lot that encompasses who you are. And for me and my wife to be operating a business, I create. If it has something to do with telling a story through video or photo or still life, I don't know. Whatever it is my job to dictate this to anyone that's in front of me. It's my job to understand the comments of how life connects. And I do so by circling everything back to the journey of the soul. Not necessarily in our content, but when I'm talking with people. My wife, on the other hand, has an entirely different perspective of how she approach and execute on information. And that alone is a whole other dynamic that we can share with our customer base, as well as with our following base, as well as with our visiting base. And everyone has something that they can actually have a conversation with us about, rather than just, oh, these cookies are good. No, what are your life skills like? What is parenting like? What is marriage like? And all of these things are on the back end of our content. And this is how we're able to show up at certain workshops. This is how we're able to go into certain groups and hubs, because it's not just the context of, hey, let me vend and be a cookie vendor. No, if you're having a particular event and I have a specificity in this event, why not allow me to cue in? I'll be obliged to be a panelist. I will be obliged to help a network of your VPs understand how to connect with their employees. I can do this because I've done this in my past lives. Before, I was just sitting here delivering blessings through cookies, right? And a lot of people out there, a lot of y'all out there are the same way. You are the same way, right? And you have to dig deep into a perspective so that you're unlocking these things. So the next time you're talking to someone and you're bidding for a job, or you are applying for a job, because it's the same. Whether if you're bidding as a freelancer or a private contractor, or you're going to put in a job application, it's all the same. How are you leveraging the information of your life to get this job? And usually when I'm talking like this, I'm speaking of corporate. I'm not talking about a standard go in and apply, they hire, they don't. But something that may be a little bit more competitive. How are you leveraging your life's work to this company? How are you aiding them? What they can do for you? And what can you do for them? The research and all of this. And all of this is the same that I do when I'm looking at everyone that we come into contact with. What are they doing? What are their habits? Where are they struggling with? And from my wife's side of everything, it's a spiritual nature. She can help guide people through that because she has a background in Christian counseling. She literally has certificates in Christian counseling. And whereas too with me, I have life skills that are just so dynamic. So our soft skills meet our physical aspirations, and it just guides people into further pieces of the brand. So when people get an email from us and they're like, hey, I didn't know y'all talk about this, or I just thought y'all were selling cookies. And I tell people to opt out all the time. Like if it's a particular email funnel that comes your way, opt out if you don't want it, because I may be sending an email out to see like where my business people at, send an email out to say where my athletes at. See, that way we can segment everything on our side, and we can actually get the right messages to the right people. Because sometimes when we're meeting people, I'm asking questions and I'm talking about particular information, but not everyone leaves their email or phone number as I would love them to. They don't sign up to be a customer that first time, or even that second time, or even a third time buying with us. They still don't sign up to be a customer. And it's cool. But I would love for these people to sign up to be customers. So that way we can get them into the network, and then we can level them up across their journey and be able to supply them with, let's just say, help material or just life material, just resources, focusing on Conroe though. So getting back around, we were doing our thing in Conroe, and I see that they had jumpies and all of this. Now this is the thing though. Usually when we go to these events, the bouncy houses and things are covered by the event host. So it's free for all the kids. That way the parents and kids can kind of chill, bouncy house and do this. This time the bouncy houses were there by a vendor, which in all actuality it always is. But the event covers that. Here, however, it was being covered like if we were going to an indoor play park. So you had a cover ranging anywhere from $15 to $25. I found that so unique because people with bouncy houses can literally just do this. However, they sit one-minded and they focus on parties. So now, in a whole other dynamic, it's just that if you have bouncy houses, go and look for large events, fairs, and things of that nature, and see if you can sign up as a vendor. So instead of charging the event host $2,500 to bring out 4 bouncy houses for 4 hours or 6 hours, charge them a lower price and then tell them that, hey, I'm a big vendor there and I'm going to charge your guests. Once the guests are inside the fair area and the event area, they're not trying to take their kids out to play and do all this other things. They're out shopping. They're out experiencing the day. That's where you capitalize on everything, because you're able to provide a service otherwise that they're going to have to take their kids to later to actually engage in. You're doing it there. So just like us, we have to look at everything that's happening in the market at that time and consider how many more people here are selling baked goods, how many more people here are selling cookies specifically when dealing with us. Cakes are okay, pies are okay, cheesecakes okay, baked goods overall it's okay, cookies it's okay for us. Most people aren't in direct competition, but we're all in the competition that's been in the confectioning side of things. People are gonna buy food. So how is it that you separate yourself through this market, being that there may be 4, maybe 6 other cookie vendors? You just gotta do your thing. Our thing is that before everything starts, we say our morning prayer, and that usually ends with, God, those that are for us, allow them to find us, and those that do not know that we exist or feel that we are not for them in this moment, that is great. Still bless their day and allow our message to reach them in the future. That's it. And that's usually how we start that day or that market, and the next day, and the next day, and pretty much every day. But when it comes to the markets, it's really that we want to meet people more on a solid level. Now, I circle back to all of this, and I'm talking about the information regarding the banner. So when I told the woman this, her face lit up. She had no more to say. I knew she had no intention on buying, but she understood now that I wasn't just putting words on a banner. Because although I gave you all the paraphrase version, I actually went in detail with her, and I shared with her each level and how we actually affect each of those levels. So it's not just about baking a cookie. This here particularly goes back into your brand and your research and things of that nature. So you having this unique selling point or this outlook on your brand to where it's attached to something else that a lot of people will also attach themselves to, or that their viewpoints align with, then boom, that's your thing. That's your unique selling proposition. This is how you stand out from everyone else. Again, anyone can bake a great tasting cake. Anyone can have a candle that smells good. Anyone can make a t-shirt. What are you doing different? Why am I buying from you? Why shall my money go towards your brand and not the other 20 people here? And even so, I want to support you and the other 10 people here because I love your messaging. I love what you stand for, and I love what I see. I love what I taste. I love what I'm hearing. You're warm. You're welcoming when we approach. And people love that. People love that we're so engaging. And I'm always firing off the hip through conversations. The thing with this particular day, on Saturday, we sold out. Everything's gone. Sunday was a hassle because with Sunday, my wife did not put into perspective that our Monday was busy, which was this Monday, our Wednesday, and Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of this week. And we hadn't gotten to Friday, Saturday, or Sunday yet. So we're at Thursday right now. She needs to go back home and bake because she was trying to return back to the festival with me on Sunday. And I say, look, who's going to bake for Monday and Wednesday? And she say, what do you mean? I said, because we have these events. And she said, oh my. So we did a last minute grocery run. She stayed up baking for about 9 hours. It was a 9-hour rush for her. And she went live. She was talking. So many people were in the room. They were conversing about so much. And I'm thinking like, okay, tomorrow is going to be a good day. Short, but good. Because now they were saying that the storm was circling around to the north side of the city. And me, I'm in Texas. I don't believe in all that weather stuff, especially not being here in Houston. I definitely don't believe in the weather here in Houston. The meteorologists can say whatever they want. It doesn't affect me one bit because I've lived here too long. And I understand that Houston is a tropical city. I don't know if those exist, but if it had to be one, Houston is one. And what I mean by that is that it can be cool in the morning. By the time you get to 10 a.m., it's hot. And it's like that until 3. And then by the time you get to 3, it's hotter. And it's like that until 6. And by the time you get to 6, it goes back to what it was at 10 a.m. So not until midnight does it go back to being cool. And then it get hot again at 3 a.m. So here we are. Big Sunday comes. Storm's coming out. My wife comes back from grocery shopping and she tells me, babe, you're going to enjoy the ride to Conroe. And I stay about, from the location where we are in Conroe, I'm about an hour. And I'm driving and I'm just like, okay, because when I wake up, it's misty. She know I love some mist. I love the rain. I love just that chill vibe. And I see like the scattered showers happening. I see the scattering of the clouds, the overcast. It's so crazy. And I'm in love. This morning, waking up, I get out here in the weather. It starts trying to clear up on me. I'm like, nah, bro, chill. Like, bring that life back. So I get a little drizzle while driving out. And one thing that hit me that me and my wife talked about the previous day was that I needed to get a tarp. So I didn't want to drop $100 on a tarp. So I needed something that was weatherproof and that can get the job done, which was basically cover the ground because I'm sure it was going to be wet. The prior day, it was a little dewy, but it wasn't wet. Today, I felt like it was going to be mushy and muddy and all this other stuff. Swung by Home Depot, grabbed the tarp, got back to the location. I dropped the tarp, and the prior day, I had our furniture pads spread out throughout the tent floor. This way, I can keep the spiders, ants, and all the bugs and stuff from jumping up on us while we were sitting out there all day. We were on top of grass. So there was grass tops, there were concrete tops, there were street tops. But we were on top of grass, so furniture pads was my thing, and they came in handy. So with this particular thing, I didn't want my furniture pads to be soaked, and then I go through that whole thing that I went through the other week. I can't remember where I had the furniture pads at, but they got crazy soaked, and they were holding water for a while until they dried out. So I didn't want to do that again. Now with this right here, what happened? Okay, so I dropped the tarp, and then I dropped the furniture pads on top of the tarp. And when I did so, I basically had my living room back. So I dropped the tarp, then I dropped the furniture pads on top of the tarp. After that, set the table up, everything else, everything was solid. It was ready to go. Rain came, it started raining, and I'm thinking like it's gonna be a wash day, right? See what I did there? Wash day, rain. It wasn't that. People was actually showing up and coming out, man. And again, it gets back to that thing to where it's just like, man, if I miss this event, I don't know when the next one's gonna be. I gotta go to this event. And people were coming out there shopping. Some people were saying that they wanted to get out yesterday, but they had things going on, which was Saturday. Some people were saying that they didn't even know the event was there. And then other people were saying that they didn't go to church, so they went to the event. Or some people, after the church hours, came out. And most of the time on a Sunday event, you're dealing with the after church crowd. Just like restaurants deal with the after church crowd. Everybody is pretty much engaged there, and then they come out. So people were just coming out to the event. It wasn't a crazy crowded, packed event as it was Saturday weather, but it was still a lot of people walking through. But so many more vendors were leaving. They were done. They were just like, no one's gonna show up, foot traffic's too slow, and the rain's coming in. And like the rain kept coming in waves and waves and waves and waves. There was a downpour here, downpour there. I counted about at least 9 different downpours before I actually packed up and left. And throughout this whole time, I'm just talking to my wife, but I use this time to go around, network, and talk with vendors to see where everybody was coming in from, what they had to sell, how long they've been in business, and just for future networking purposes, in case someone needed something they had and I needed to plug them, you know? And that's generally what I do whenever I'm talking with other vendors. When I made my way back to my booth, or before I even got away from my booth, every time I tried to leave, someone would get my attention and buy cookies. Like, I'll get to the end of the aisle, and on one side, I'm 2 tenths down from the exit of the aisle. On the other side, I'm about 6 tenths down from the exit of the aisle. And either way I go, whichever one I pick, by the time I get to the end, someone comes to the table to get more cookies. And so I'm selling the cookies in the rain while trying to leave to go talk to people. I go all the way on this one row, and I'm talking to this guy. And while I'm talking to him, a customer from Saturday comes, and she's like, "You got some more of them cookies? I need some cookies." So she got me back to my booth, and she's like, "Hey, I need these cookies. Let's make this happen." So I'm like, "All right, cool, I got you." I get her cookies. Another customer come. "Hey, you the one that sold cookies yesterday. You got any more?" "Yeah." So they're coming back, and I was like, "Man, anything that you didn't see yesterday that brought you out through the rain today?" And they both said, "Cookies. Your cookies are amazing." That put such a smile on my heart. Such a smile on my heart. And we're so grateful for everyone that we meet that understands that. And then that especially comes into that deeper connection, right? So I pack everything up. It's wet. I travel through to the house. By this time, things are clearing up by the time I make it to HEB and Walmart to pick up. What was I picking up? I was picking up something for the house for tax and to hang stuff up, to hang pictures and stuff. But I actually make it through all of this. By the time I do all of this, like, the rain's gone. So my day was filled with rain, which I appreciate because I got a chance to chill, talk to some cool people, and just be in the rain rather than being in the house while it was raining outside and I'm trying to figure out how to get in the rain. I know it sounds weird, but that was this weekend, man. That was the Conroy event. All right, we're gonna talk more, and I'll catch y'all next time. I'm gonna update y'all about another event, as well as some other things that we got coming up. All right, y'all be beautiful.